Okay, guys, welcome back, and let's go ahead and create a new fill in the blank question. And this time, this question will be about numbers in the blanks. So let's make this question something from maths. Let's make this a question about Fibonacci numbers. And let me go ahead and add some tags. So let the tags be maths, Fibonacci, and numbers. So with those tags, let's go ahead and create the question statement. Question statement is, let's go ahead and first define Fibonacci numbers, and then we will ask some questions based on Fibonacci numbers. So Fibonacci sequence is defined by. Fibonacci sequence is defined by, and let me add a display equation here. So let me show this again. In order to add a display equation, I press the backtick character, then open the square bracket, and open another square bracket, and another backtick character, and that creates an environment for display equation. And over here, I'm going to say x sub n plus 1 is equal to x sub n plus x sub n minus 1, and that's the definition of the Fibonacci sequence. And over here I'm going to say Fibonacci sequence defined by this equation and is initialized with x0 equal to 0, give the value of quantities indicated below. Okay, so that's our instruction part. Now we're gonna make the statement part, and here we'll say, what do we want? Let's say we want the fourth element. We have given the element x0 and x1. I want the fourth element, so I'm gonna say x4, x sub 4, and then I'll put a tilde and a dollar sign, and with the EQ, that's a x equal to, and then I'm gonna say blank number. So this is a declaration for blank of the type number. I have to give this some name, so let me go ahead and call this x4. And let's go ahead and, since we just give the name x4 in the answer key, we have to define this. So let's go ahead and give x4. And if you work it out, the Fibonacci number, the fourth Fibonacci number is going to be 3. So that's my answer. So I declared some instructions, gave my problem statement with a blank, and defined an answer key. Let's go ahead and verify this. And that works. So a quick read shows that this is what I wanted. I want them to write a value of x4, and value of x4 is 3, which is correct. Okay, very good. So let's go ahead and make this question slightly more interesting by adding more blanks. So give a couple of line breaks, and then I'll go ahead and say x5 equal to, I'll say another blank. Let's make it, x5 is straightforward. Let's go ahead and make it x7. So blank number, and we'll call it x7. And now we have to define this in the answer key. So let's add answer key x7, and the x7 value is 13. So let's go ahead and verify this. So now my question has two blanks. Both the blanks are numbers, and I've given that as 13. Go ahead and add one more blank. Let's go ahead and make this a ratio of two numbers. So x9 divided by x8, and let's say this is equal to blank, also a number. We'll call this a ratio. Let's go ahead and define a ratio here. So ratio, the value is 1.619. Now that's the correct value, 1.619, for the ratio of x9 over x8. x9 is 34, x8 is 21. So 34 divided by 21 is 1.619 up to 3 digits, but it's actually it's a rational number. It's a continuing sequence, and we want students to only enter 3 numbers, 3 digits. So we have to give appropriate suggestions over here. But also, if student made a small mistake in the last digit in rounding off, suppose they put in 1.618, they are doing something conceptually correct, but they made a calculation mistake. So you want to give some room to them to be able to make that error. So rather than defining as a perfect number 1.619, we should rather define it as a range. So we'll declare it that the answer ratio is any number in the range. So 1.619, so we can make it 1.61, let's say 7 to 1.621. So let's give a room for some small error of 0.002, but we still want students to be able to give an answer accurate to 3 digits. So let's go ahead and verify this. Yes, it says the ratio is the range between 1.617 and 1.621. That's what we want. Let's go ahead and make it very clear. So the suggestions we can say, please. So we have given a suggestion over here which says that in the first two blanks, you should enter an integer value. And in the third blank, you should enter a number that is accurate to 3 decimal places after, after the decimal, it's accurate to 3 decimal places. So we really want them to enter 1.619. So we also give them a suggestion here that if your answer is, let's say 3.1415, then you should enter 3.142 in the last blank. Just giving them a clear idea of how they should give an answer. Clarity always helps. It's a good practice to be very clear in our questions. So we have, so this is in fact a complete question, and we can go ahead and at this point commit it. So this shows up in my list of committed content. But we wanted to make a little bit more interesting question. So let me go ahead and clone this question. So I'll go ahead and clone this question, and then we'll make a question out of this which is parameterized. So that one was a fixed question. All the answers were fixed, numbers were fixed. So we'll go ahead and make a parameterized one. So what we'll parameterize is we'll change this x4 to some random number, this one to some random number, and correspondingly the answer will change. Okay, so at least we should parameterize these two things, and I'll show you how to do that. So let's go ahead and call this 4 as even. So let's say even is a parameter. That means I can give a random even number in some range, and then I'll go ahead and call this as odd. And if I do that, my answer is also going to change from to x even and x odd. Notice that the even here refers to the n value for xn, and odd here also refers to n value of xn, but I want ask them two values, one for even value of xn, one for odd value of n, and corresponding the answer will change. So I have to go here in the answer key and go ahead and call this as x even and call this as x odd. And now I want to go to the parameters, and the parameter I want to add a parameter, and let me go ahead and use the parameter editor. I want to add two parameters, so it's a group parameter just like we did in one of the MCQ questions. So in this group parameter, I want to add two parameters. The first row is the name of the parameter. So of course, one parameter is even, and the other one has to be the answer corresponding to that even, okay, or the Fibonacci number corresponding to that even. So let me go ahead and call it Fibo even. So let me take even value of n to be 4, 6, and 8, and the corresponding Fibonacci number x4 is 3, x6 is 8, and x8 is 21. And that's declaration of my parameters. You could have also typed it up, but sometimes typing this is hard, so you can use the parameter editor. This says that the parameter name itself is a group of two parameters, and this is a declaration of the values that those parameters can take. And here I'm going to go ahead and say, let me go ahead and use parameter editor. So I'll say this is odd and Fibo odd. Parameter names can be anything that you like. So odd I'll choose as 5, 7, and 9. Three values are enough. X5 is 5, X7 is 13, and X9 is 34. So let's go ahead and save that. So those are my parameters. Now my answer key is Fibo even. My answer key is X even, but its corresponding value is going to be, if corresponding to even n being even, the corresponding value is fib even. So here I should put fib even, because if I do not do that, go ahead and show that. If I do not do that, then it'll always take 3 as the value. Similarly here I should say fib odd. So now it'll automatically pick up the answer key whenever the corresponding, whatever the even value of n is picked, correspondingly the answer will also picked up. Okay, so all these three things are linked: even, x even, and fib even, and odd, x odd, and fib odd. Let's go ahead and verify this. So it looks like everything is all right. Okay, all the declarations are correct. So it says no problem. In fact, let me go ahead and make a mistake here so that it becomes clear. Suppose I give a wrong value over here. Let me go ahead and say fib even 1. This is something that we have not defined anyway. This is not a number. This is just some variable, unknown quantity. So let me go ahead and verify this. You'll say that there's an error. It says the type of the blank x even is a number, but fib even is not a number or a list of numbers or a range of numbers after parameter substitution. What it means is that system has detected that you have given the answer key as some quantity fib even 1, but it could not, after doing parameter replacement, it could not find, couldn't replace this with anything that was a number or a range of number or a list of numbers. See, x even is, we declare the type of the blank as number blank. So it is expecting that the value of this answer key has to become a number after parameter substitution, but that did not happen because fib even was not defined anywhere. Okay, so this kind of error can happen. If it happens, you just check your declarations carefully. Let's go ahead and verify again. Now verification, as always, does not do parameter substitution. It just verifies your expressions, formulas, maths, etc. But it does not do parameter substitution. To do parameter substitution and check the question accordingly, I have to do give 5. But without parameter substitution, you can see, this formula is correct. It says x even, x odd as the blank, x9 over x8 is as it is. Okay, and for x even, the value is fib even, x odd value is fib odd, and they have been grouped together in the definition, even and fib even, odd and fib odd. Okay, and the last one we have not changed. So let's go ahead and do a give 5 and see what happens. Okay, so here's the first instance. Whenever we do group parameters, it gives something like that, but you can ignore it. Really, the parameter is just the word inside this thing: even, fib even, odd, fib odd. So let's pick those values of the parameter. So when even is 4, fib even is 3, odd is 5, fib odd is 5. And correspondingly, the question does become x4, x5, and the answer is correspondingly changed. X even is 3 and x odd is 5. This was the first instance. That means one student is going to get this copy of the question, while another student will get a different copy of the question. He'll be asked what is x4 and x7 and the corresponding answers as 3 and 13. Yet another student will get a different copy. They'll get x6 and x7, and another student will get x6 and x9. Okay, and you can of course go ahead and parameterize this also. I leave it as exercise for you to try it out yourself, how you can parameterize that. Although this ratio converges very quickly, xn plus 1 over xn converges to some number close to 1.6 very, very quickly. So that's my question then. Let's go ahead and commit this one. Great, we have now have one more question in our database of committed content. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next video.